Everyone ignored the helpless alien woman, except for one human man. The transit sector hummed like it always did, a sound Elias Crowe had learned to think of as the universe clearing its throat. He was halfway through a protein bar that claimed to taste like apple pie and succeeded only in offending apples when he noticed the silence. Not the normal silence, no alarms, no screaming, no polite multilingual threats, but the kind that wrapped itself around a single point and made everyone lean away from it without quite knowing why. People were passing. Hundreds of them. Scales, fur, chrome, vapor, light. Boots clanged, tendrils slid, hover discs whined. And there she was, sitting where the foot traffic curved unnaturally wide, as if politeness itself had rerouted. Bound. Still. Watching. The sign hovering above her pulsed a tired amber. Temporary containment. Do not engage. Thank you for your cooperation. Elias snorted. You're welcome. He muttered to no one, and kept standing there, because stopping was something he had always been bad at not doing. She looked human enough to trigger all the wrong instincts. Same face shape, same hands, same quiet breathing. Then the ears registered long, elegant, sweeping back instead of up. Not grotesque, just inconvenient. The kind of difference that made people suddenly remember appointments they didn't have. She noticed him noticing, and raised one brow with faint interest. You're staring, she said, voice low and perfectly clear, without a translator field. Occupational hazard, Elias said. I fix things that blink at me. You're blinking metaphorically. That's not blinking. Give it time. Her mouth twitched. Not a smile yet. More like a rehearsal. A security drone drifted closer, optics narrowing. Elias leaned back, hands up. Relax. I'm not engaging. I'm loitering aggressively. The drone processed this, then drifted away, apparently satisfied that sarcasm was not a weaponized behavior. Elias crouched anyway, because standing felt rude. So, he said, gesturing vaguely at the glowing restraints. You come here often, or is this your first time being everyone's problem? First time in this sector, she replied. Third time today. Rough schedule. You have no idea. He glanced at the sign again. They usually add more adjectives when someone's actually dangerous. They ran out. That did it. He laughed, short and surprised, earning several disapproving looks from passers-by who preferred their existential threats humorless. I'm Elias, he said. I'm not supposed to talk to you, apparently, which makes this the highlight of my shift. She tilted her head, studying him with unsettling focus. Elias Crowe, she said, pronouncing it perfectly. You smell like ionized dust and disappointment. Ah, he said. So you can read people. No, just humans. Fair. He tapped the floor with his knuckle. So what are you in for? Smuggling stars. Thinking too loudly. I waited, she said. For someone to notice. That's it. That's never it. A station announcement crackled overhead, looping twice before giving up and playing a jingle clearly stolen from a children's education sim. The lights flickered. Elias winced. Station's been doing that all week. Don't worry, it's only mostly falling apart. I'm not worried, she said. They are. He followed her gaze. A cluster of officials stood at a distance, pretending not to stare while staring with professional intensity. One of them was arguing with an AI interface that kept helpfully suggesting exile as a solution to everything. So, Elias said, lowering his voice, if I accidentally trip and touch one of those cuffs, am I going to explode? She leaned closer. The air felt heavier, like reality had briefly remembered something important. Her eyes held his, steady and amused and infinitely patient. If you touch me, she whispered, your life will never be the same. Elias considered this, then shrugged. Honestly, that's a low bar. Somewhere nearby, a probability monitor chirped in confusion, and the universe, which had been minding its own business until now, quietly leaned in to listen. Elias came back the next day with a borrowed toolkit, a coffee that violated several interstellar treaties, and the distinct feeling that the station was watching him like a cat pretending not to care about a laser. She was still there. Same restraints. Same sign. Someone had added a smaller notice beneath it that read, "Please do not make eye contact," which felt less like a rule and more like a confession. "You're early," she said. "I don't sleep well when reality threatens to unionize," Elias replied. "Also, they cut my access badge in half. Turns out loitering aggressively is a fireable offense." "Humans fire each other often," she said. "It seems inefficient. We're big on tradition." He knelt again, closer this time. "I brought coffee. I don't consume liquids." "Great. More for me. It tastes like regret anyway." She watched him drink with fascination. "Your species ingests anxiety voluntarily." Only before noon. A maintenance bot trundled past, paused, then backed up an inch as if reconsidering its life choices. Elias waved. "Hey, buddy. She's with me." The bot beeped, printed a warning ticket for no one in particular, and left. Elias smirked. "See? Social proof." "You are remarkably unafraid," she said. "False," Elias said. "I'm terrified. I just process fear through sarcasm and poor decisions." She considered this. "That explains the haircut." "Hey." The cuffs pulsed softly. Elias frowned at them. "They don't look painful." "They aren't," she said. "They're predictive." "Of course they are. They bind outcomes, not limbs." "Cool," Elias said. "That's way worse." She smiled then, openly. The lights dimmed by 3%. Somewhere, a transit clock lost 30 seconds and blamed cosmic rays. Elias pointed upward. "You doing that?" "No," she said. "You are. That doesn't seem fair." "Reality rarely is." He leaned back on his heels. "So what happens now?" "Now," she said, "they wait for you to stop coming." "And if I don't?" "Then the models collapse." "Which models?" "All of them." An announcement boomed overhead, crisp and confident, declaring an evacuation drill that immediately contradicted itself in 6 languages. People began jogging in small, confused circles. Elias watched, unimpressed. "Your people really should work on customer service." "We tried," she said. "They kept trying to monetize causality." Classic mistake. A security officer approached, helmet opaque, voice amplified. "Sir, step away from the anomaly." Elias looked at her. She nodded, almost imperceptibly. He stood, hands up. "Officer, I was just." The officer's helmet flickered, showing 3 different faces in rapid succession. He paused. "I was just," he blinked. "What was I just doing?" "Protecting the station," Elias offered. "Right," the officer said, relieved. "Carry on." He walked into a wall and apologized to it. Elias exhaled. "You sure you're not dangerous?" She tilted her head. "Define dangerous." "Fair." A drone zipped in, scanning her restraints. The readout stuttered, then displayed a joke Elias had told 10 years ago and deeply regretted. The drone powered down in shame. She laughed. The sound made the air feel warmer. Elias felt it in his chest, like a door unlocking somewhere it shouldn't. "What's your name?" he asked. She hesitated. "Name's Anchor." "I'm good at anchors," Elias said. "I sync with the best of them." "Then call me IRI." "Nice to meet you, IRI. I'm still probably going to ruin everything." "Yes," she said, pleased. "That's why this might work." The sign above her flickered, changed color, then quietly removed itself. No alarm sounded. No one noticed. The station breathed, uncertain but curious, and Elias sat back down, because stopping was still something he had always been bad at not doing. By the 3rd day, the station had started lying to itself. Elias noticed it when the arrival board listed a ship as having docked yesterday, tomorrow, and never. He stood beneath it with IRI's voice murmuring in his ear through a contraband combide she had somehow convinced a vending machine to fabricate. "You broke causality again," she said mildly. "I didn't even touch anything this time," Elias replied. "I just thought about lunch." "Yes, that will do it." He sighed and leaned against a pillar that briefly became a chair, then decided it had always been a pillar and resented the suggestion otherwise. "So let me get this straight. You're not imprisoned because you're violent." "No." "Or contagious." "No." "Or royalty." Thankfully not. You're here because what? You caused narrative tension. Closer than you think. They had stopped pretending not to talk. The officials had noticed, of course, but every attempt to intervene dissolved into procedural nonsense. Forms reordered themselves. Authorizations expired before being granted. One particularly aggressive administrator got stuck in a loop of apologizing to Elias for a parking violation Elias had not yet committed. Your presence is destabilizing predictive systems, IRI said. They rely on apathy. You disrupt that. Elias snorted. My mother always said I'd be good for something. A service android rolled by and handed Elias a sandwich without being asked. The label read turkey. Elias squinted at it. Did you order this? No. Do you want it? I still don't eat. More for me, Elias said, taking a bite. The sandwich tasted like childhood and poor decisions. That's unsettling. Across the sector, a probability engine began flashing a warning icon shaped like a shrug. A technician kicked it. It began playing jazz. Okay, Elias said. Hypothetically, what happens if they move you? They have tried. And they moved the room instead. He laughed despite himself. You're kidding. I do not joke about architecture. A security drone descended, projecting a calm blue field. Citizen Elias Crowe. Please cease unauthorized emotional bonding. Elias looked at it. You don't know my heart. The drone processed this for several seconds, then quietly added itself to a support group for confused machines. IRI's voice softened. You should be afraid now. Too late, Elias said. I already met you. Silence stretched, not empty, but attentive. Elias felt it again, that pressure behind the ribs, like the universe waiting to see if he'd flinch. IRI, he said. What are you really waiting for? For a variable they cannot model, she replied. Someone who chooses without optimization. Wow, Elias said. That's the nicest thing anyone's ever called my bad habits. She laughed, and this time the lights didn't flicker. They steadied. A nearby child stopped crying. A sentient fog reconsidered its career path. They're afraid of what happens if you stay, Elias said. Yes, and if I leave. Then nothing changes, she said, and everything ends the same way it always does. Elias watched a crowd flow past, deliberately not seeing them. He thought about his half-cut badge, his empty quarters, the way the station now bent slightly toward where he stood. Guess I'm staying, he said. Somewhere deep in the station's core, a future quietly tore itself up and started over, grumbling the whole time. By the fourth day, the station had stopped pretending it was in charge. Elias found this out when his old supervisor tried to arrest him with a clipboard. You're causing anomalies, she said, jabbing the air. Temporal. Emotional. One of the coffee machines thinks it's your uncle. I never met my uncle, Elias said. That explains a lot. IRI's voice hummed through the comm bead. They've convened a council. Already, Elias said. I thought bureaucracy liked to warm up first. They skipped warming, she replied. They're afraid. Of me. Of you choosing. A door slid open that wasn't scheduled to exist. 5 officials entered, each representing a different authority and none agreeing on gravity. One floated slightly. One insisted on walking sideways. The last one kept resetting, like a bad memory. Elias Crowe, said the tallest one, voice filtered and tired. You will step away from the entity. She has a name, Elias said. So do hurricanes, the official snapped. Rude, IRI said calmly. The room trembled, then apologized. The floating official grabbed a rail that hadn't been there before. Containment has failed, they said. We recommend separation. Elias crossed his arms. You tried that. Yes, said another. It didn't work. Maybe because you're bad at it, Elias said. A console sparked to life, projecting futures like badly shuffled cards. Every outcome involving Elias leaving glitched into static. One showed the station intact but empty. Another showed it prosperous and slightly sarcastic. See, Elias said. The fun one's obvious. IRI spoke gently. You can still walk away. Elias glanced at her. You keep saying that like you don't want me to. I want you to choose, she said. Not to stay. To mean it. A junior officer burst in, breathless. The probability engines are arguing with each other. That's new, Elias said. Usually I do that internally. The Engine's voices overlapped through the speakers. Outcome non-compliant. Empathy detected. Requesting guidance. Requesting therapy. One engine began playing a laugh track. The tallest official pinched the bridge of their nose. This station exists to move people along. Maybe that's the problem, Elias said. No one ever stops. Silence hit, sharp enough to notice. IRI's restraints pulsed, then dimmed. Not broken. Reconsidering. If I stay, Elias said, you don't get to own her. And if you don't, the official asked, then you'll keep doing this, Elias said. Forever. And eventually someone worse than me will stop. That landed badly. Good. IRI laughed softly. He's right. The room flickered. Authority systems stalled. One badge reassigned itself to Elias, then panicked and tried to revoke itself. Elias stepped forward. No alarms. No warnings. Just the quiet hum of a universe holding its breath. I'm not here to save you, he said to IRI. I'm here because I care. That's it. No heroics. She looked at him, long ears still, eyes bright. That's why it's dangerous. Yeah, Elias said. I get that a lot. The restraints unlocked with a sound like relief. Somewhere, a council vote failed to record itself. The station lights steadied again, not forced this time, but chosen. Well, Elias said, smiling despite the chaos. Guess we broke something important. IRI stood. No, she said. We fixed it. The station disagreed loudly, then, reluctantly, learned to live with the idea. By the 5th day, the transit sector had learned Elias's name. Not officially. Official systems still labeled him as unresolved variable, which he considered an upgrade. Unofficially, vendors offered him free snacks, machines paused to let him pass, and one elevator politely asked for his opinion before deciding which direction up was today. IRI walked beside him now, unbound, unescorted, irritatingly calm. Her ears twitched whenever reality tried something clever. They're still watching, she said. Let them, Elias replied. I've been watched my whole life, usually for shoplifting when I was just bad at pockets. They're afraid you'll leave. He stopped walking. Is that what this is about? Yes, she said simply. They can adapt to me. They cannot adapt to uncertainty with a sense of humor. That's fair, Elias said. I'm a nightmare. The council tried one last time. They sent an envoy shaped like compromise and smelling faintly of ozone. We propose relocation, it said smoothly. For both of you. Where? Elias asked. A controlled environment. Elias grinned. You've met me. The envoy hesitated. Somewhere, a risk model quietly resigned. IRI turned to Elias. You don't have to stay here. I know, he said. That's the point. She studied him, searching for hesitation, finding only intent and a deeply ingrained tendency to make things worse in interesting ways. You've changed, she said. Yeah, Elias said. Turns out stopping matters. The station's core AI finally spoke. Voice rough from days of internal debate. Request, define relationship. Elias blinked. IRI smiled. We choose. The AI paused. Processing. Then softer. Understood. System stabilized. Not perfectly. Perfectly was never an option again. But predictably enough to function. Loosely enough to breathe. Ships came and went. People passed through. Some slowed down. A few stopped. Elias took a job maintaining probability buffers, which mostly involved telling machines bad jokes until they relaxed. IRI became an ambassador of sorts, not between species, but between outcomes, teaching civilizations that caring was not a flaw in the math. One day, Elias realized he wasn't waiting anymore. Not for something to break. Not for permission. He caught IRI watching him amused. What? He asked. You're content, she said. That's new. Don't spread it around, he said. Ruins my reputation. She reached for his hand. The universe didn't flinch this time. It adjusted. Above them, a new sign flickered to life in the transit sector. Unauthorized and unremovable. Pause zone. Engagement permitted. Elias read it, then laughed. Told you, he said. Low bar. IRI squeezed his hand. And yet, she said, you cleared it. The station hummed on, not ignoring anymore, and somewhere far beyond its corridors, futures unfolded differently, all because one man had stopped when everyone else had walked past. The end.